he was a dick. Rocky wasn't a nice guy.
Rocky frightened everybody, let me tell you.
Rocky could fly into a psychopathic rage at the drop of a hat, or if you miss a note or a beat, you're done.
I met Rocky in 1958.
Met Rocky back in about 56. Well, you know, the last few bass players had just kind of disappeared.
You know, there's the whole thing about Jim Sykes, you know, and his poor wife always coming around looking for him at shows, and she'd point out the bass and things.
I wasn't on I'm a Bad Man. A guy named Jim Sykes played bass on that. We never found out what happened to him either.
Jim Sykes was one of 5 missing bass players.
His wife used to come to practice and point out that the bass I was playing had his name on it.
Oh, Jim had the nicest bass of all the bass players he had. It was a brand new Fender.
You know, people say he killed people, but it didn't. It's just that people disappeared around him.
23 people disappeared around him. The only ones that were safe were his family or his band, as long as they played well.
He was going to high school with a friend of mine and borrowed his car one day, and then my friend just disappeared. We never found him again.
He'd have a new car every day, it seemed like, or every week at least.
Rocky had a different car every time I saw him.
Car thief, murderer, musician.
Not violent to me, but, you know, he just didn't do really very smart things.
And then there's that whole Buddy Holly incident.
Rocky worshipped Buddy Holly, but he never liked the Crickets. And he had this crazy idea that Buddy's band should have died with Buddy.
Buddy Holly died, and he thought that the Crickets should have died with him.
That was like something he'd say every day.
Only frontmen died in that crash. Big Bopper, Richie Valens, Buddy Holly. Not one band member died in that crash. Rocky thought it was a setup, the band trying to kill off the band leader.
So he went after him to try and finish the job.
He stalked the Crickets. He'd call their houses and sing "That'll Be the Day That You Die."
I'm gonna kill him. He's gonna kill everybody.
Rocky ended up playing the same place they were one night once they replaced Buddy with Earl Sinks, and Rocky set the stage on fire during their set.
There were casualties.
Whole place burnt down.
Rocky, how many kids? Yeah, he had a daughter.
Well, they call me the wrong names. They know that he had a daughter, but I've heard my name as Bethany, I think, and Crystal, and I don't know, a bunch of other things.
Rocky had a girl named Bethany or something.
I think it was Catherine. No, it was something classical. Athena?
My name's Jill.
They lived in, like, Alameda.
I live in Clear Lake.
Rocky loved women, and the women loved him.
Rocky didn't go home during that time. He was always running off with some other girl, or at least we thought it was a girl.
We were headlining a month-long residency in this hole in Fresno one time. Can I say hole? He had pissed off the club owner, run off with his girlfriend, and he sent a couple thugs after Rocky to beat him up. Of course, they didn't touch his hands.
This, of course, was his famous wheelchair performance.
It was the show after that was the wheelchair show. He had to play in the wheelchair.
He nearly died on stage then.
The passion overcame him, and he didn't notice, and he fell off the front of the stage. He had girls in every town. He had girlfriends in every town. In San Francisco, he had a girl that he was really hot for. We didn't have the heart to tell him that the girl was a guy.
We all knew it was in San Francisco, and that was like in, 59 or something like that. She was cute, too.
Rocky was a sexual maven. He's a hero in the gay community. I've heard AC/DC took their name from him.
I don't think there were other women or, that came around the house, so I think, all I know is Stu.
Rocky's personal life was complex. He loved his wife, he loved his daughter, and he loved Stu.
He had a package.
At that time period, their lifestyle was against the law.
A package, I'm telling you.
Stu and my mom got married. My dad died.
You want to know about the night he died?
There's these stories about him being electrocuted from at a show.
We were playing out in the middle of nowhere in like Dunsmuir.
We were playing this hole in Carson City.
The show was in Lodi. Another event that inspired a great song, Stuck in Lodi again.
Rocky gets all into his last song and he falls down, starts flopping, and
He was jumping around, acting like he was electrocuted.
he would fall down, roll on the ground like he was getting electrocuted, kicking his feet up in the air and he's screaming and all that stuff. That's when he like ripped his pants one time and his nutsack came out like that and just kind of
Was flopping in the breeze.
The Lodi beanbag incident. They arrested Rocky for that. 8 years later, Jim Morrison did the same and they arrested him too.
we drew the kids,
That they finally loved our show after hating us for the whole set.
and he got electrocuted.
But we didn't notice that he actually was being electrocuted.
Sadly, this was not uncommon during that time period. Many musicians were electrocuted on stage. Even Keith Richards got shocked, but nothing can kill Keith.
Everybody clapped and applauded and thought it was great. It wasn't until the amp fell over on top of him that we knew it was real.
We figured it out when he was kicking so bad. The amplifier that came from somewhere we don't know. It was this giant thing.
This was no ordinary amplifier. This was a triple stack before there were stacks.
This is back before people had giant amplifiers. This thing was about 4 feet high.
This was Rocky's wall of noise, way before the Dead did their wall of sound. Pigpen was a huge Rocky Stone fan.
It fell right on top of him.
Paul McCartney often cited Rocky as a major influence.
Rocky was the first one to light his guitar on fire on stage. Hendrix definitely took that from him.
Dr. John, Bowie.
Ronnie James Dio said this was from his grandmother, but actually Rocky Stone's full name was Rocky Stone Leany, and he got it from his grandmother. His grandmother used to say, the babula's gonna get you. But, all them WAPs got the same stories.
You gotta watch those Italians.
Brian Wilson totally ripped off the opening to Good Vibrations from our song. We used the theremin first.
It was bad music, even for its time. Rocky he didn't know a scale. He did not know a scale.
They were so cheap. The records were horrible. They would literally fall apart after about 10 plays. You couldn't play them anymore. I think that he broke into the pressing plant and printed over other records.
The rarest record in rock and roll. Worth a fortune if you can find one.
If I had one of those records left right now, I could pay off the mortgage on my house. One of them.
But that record, my nephew said, hey, check it out. And I'm like, son of a...
Rocky Stone was the original rebel. He was like James Dean and Link Ray combined. He was the prototype for punk rock.
He always had a blackjack in his back pocket. He could smack anybody who jumps on stage. Rocky, he'd smack them in the head if they got too close to him. Just guy right between the eyes and blood all over the place.
Rocky Stone was like a meteor. He had a brief rise and a brilliant flash and a burnout. He didn't stick around for years making lame songs and playing middle-of-the-road music.
My dad was amazing, despite all his misgivings. Everyone still talks about him to this day. I love my dad.
He was already just starting to catch on fire, and so when it hit him, it just like ashes and blood and pieces of his clothes flying all over the place. It was something.
I'm bad, baby. I'm bad. Ooh, 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 baby, I'm bad.